Hello, everyone. Abigail Posner here with another episode of Decoded, where I get to spend about a minute or two just trying to understand, decode a subculture that I find interesting. And I am so excited to have a good friend of mine and a colleague, Dr. Tom Maschio, who is an anthropologist in the business world, which sounds kind of funny. And I'd love for you to decode what that means to be an anthropologist, someone who studies culture and studies people, and how that works with business.
Well, hi, Abigail. Good to see you again. So an anthropologist studies culture and cultural practices, and business and consumer practices. Buying and selling are cultural practices. So we bring the expertise of an anthropologist to study the kind of values and meanings that consumers weave around products and services.
But why would we need to do that?
Well, you have to understand the meanings that consumers weave around products and services if you want to create an effective product, if you want to design an effective product, if you want to tinker with your product in a design sense. Also, if you want to seize on the particular benefits that a product or a service has for a consumer, you have to understand those benefits and then communicate them cogently.
So, I mean, it sounds cool, but I don't understand it. Tell me more.
Okay, well, I'll give you an example. So there was this company, as there often is, and they had this new product. The product happened to be a infant formula, and they were hawking the scientific and nutritional kind of benefits of this product.
That makes sense. Yeah.
It's a straightforward functionalist kind of treatment of their product. They were saying that it's better than all the other products out there for X, Y, and Z rational reasons.
Right.
So their product wasn't getting very much traction, though, in advertising marketing space. The return on investment for advertising wasn't doing very well. Their product basically wasn't catching on.
Yeah.
They want to understand why. So I went into the field, which meant interviewing moms and dads who had newborn children and were either breast or bottle feeding them, or both, and trying to understand, what was a good formula, what was a good mothering and feeding practice in their minds.
Mm-hmm. So what did they say?
Excuse me?
So what did they say?
So they didn't care at all. They weren't very cognizant of or aware of the nutritional benefits of breast milk first. Wow. And why it was supposedly better for children. They didn't really understand the science behind these formulas for children and what made one different from another. Mm-hmm. So all the claims that the business was making about its product, about its being nutritionally superior and scientifically advanced, all those claims were falling on deaf ears. The real energy of what I was hearing in these interviews was regard to the kind of the mommy wars. Most of these women felt most of these women felt very judged about the way they were not only parenting but feeding their child, or whatever repertoire and routine that they had concocted to feed the child, whether it involved initially feeding through breast milk and then adding a supplemental formula feeding. Whatever routine they concocted, they felt they were being judged for it. Right. So that's where all the energy was. That's what they were most concerned with. And we had to come up with really a communication strategy, a messaging that made women feel less judged. And we tried to align the brand with that kind of.
Did it work?
Communication strategy. And it did. It worked. It became, we made a a viral commercial shown after the Super Bowl.
Wow.
And it became kind of the talk of the town for a long, long time.
What was the message exactly?
The message was that we're all in this together. We all have a overarching view, which is to nurture and to care for our children. And various differences among us dissolve when we have that goal in mind.
So true. So true. And you know, how apropos actually a message for today, right? We're all in this together. We're all facing COVID together. We're all facing racism together. So it's not just such a great message for a formula brand. It's a great message in general. But so fascinating that you were able to tap into what was driving human emotion. And so as we think about today and we think about the future, could you argue that anthropology, in a way, in the study of human beings, is more important than ever?
I would say so. Of course I would say so, but the
But
sort of
why?
anthropology I do and that I'm drawn to is called humanistic anthropology. Humanistic anthropology draws on humanities, philosophy, symbolic anthropology, the study of emotions to understand human behavior, including commercial behavior. And we humanistic anthropologists tend to view consumer behavior as a species of part of the human need to create meaning and to lead meaningful lives. So I think that there's this humanistic dimension that is very important for businesses to understand. There's a humanistic dimension to their products and services that businesses can tap into by using anthropologists.
So net, everything we do, whether it's what we buy, what we watch, what technology we use, it all matters because we ascribe meaning to all of it. And that meaning helps us understand who we are in the context of our world, understands the world around us, and how we can progress, which is so powerful, I think, a message. So thank you, Tom. I look forward to continuing our relationship and working with you in the future. And thank you for joining us on another episode of Decoded.
Thank you, Abigail. It's a pleasure. Okay, goodbye.
Bye.